Hi guys, so Tom MacDonald dropped another one on Friday, like he always said. Why don't you always drop it on Friday? Because that's my day. But I gotta admit that Token did drop one on Friday. I haven't been able to react to that one yet. I will react to it, of course. But let's go into this now. As soon as I saw the title of the song, I was like, okay, this is a Tom MacDonald that people not only can relate but can also sympathize, because you don't only have the people who suffer from addiction, because addiction, although it's a small percentage of people worldwide. I did the research. When it comes to a disease, like all the other diseases, it affects everybody around you. It doesn't only affect the person who has it. So the father, the mother, or the son, or the daughter, or the sister, or the uncle, or the nephew, whoever can relate, because somehow, somewhere, even though it's such a small percentage, we know someone who has suffered from addiction, and we ourselves might be people who suffer from addiction. So let's react to this one, because it's called Withdrawals, and what else could it be? Unless it's a double, unless it has a different meaning. Let's see.
I wanted to get off my meds, but I never called this office in.
Wait, what? Get off my med? What happened? Hold on. Let's start from the very beginning.
The doctor said to talk to him.
Okay.
I wanted to get off my meds, but I never called this office in. Pour the bottle in the garbage can. I'm stuck in this apartment and I'm anxious like the cops are here. I tried to call like all my friends, none of them are answering.
This is so relatable. This guy is so good. I mean, I wonder if he goes to AA. No, I don't have to wonder. I don't think he does. He doesn't, because he drinks once in a while. And if you go to AA, you have to be sober, even though they'll tell you, oh no, this is open, anyone, but even if you have drank that day or used that day, you cannot speak. But this guy, when he tells his story, he can attract people. But I guess, I don't know, because he's going through it. The doctor told him to tell him when to get off. You don't get off a medication, any medication. You got to follow and you have to, because they know more about the body, even if they're doing it and they don't really care about our health, because I can understand that a lot of people are jaded because the healthcare system, doctors promote medicine or pills that we don't actually need. It is because, they got the pharma behind them, telling them to sell it, giving them incentives to do it. Yo entiendo todo eso. I understand that. But they still scientists, so they know. Yes, that's why they were full, because they know how addictive some of those pills are, but they also know how to wing you out of it, and it's something that, come on, let's be real. If you're an alcoholic and you're having alcohol withdrawal, which is the worst, don't you want to be with the doctor? Take me to the doctor, because these shakes might not go away that easily, and I can die from it. Okay, so he's not listening to the doctor. I think he got off on his own. Typical addict. Sorry to say that.
I'm stuck in this apartment and I'm anxious like the cops are here. I tried to call like all my friends, none of them are answering. Is this the moment where I can't control it?
Okay, so I can see that. So he's going through the withdrawals now, but these are the withdrawals of the pills that the doctor gave him, because addicts usually tend to have other illnesses, like mental health issues, such as bipolar, double personality, or depression, anxiety. After all, that's what they're doing, medicating. That's what medication is all about. Intaking so that you can medicate yourself so that you can feel better. So anyhow, the guy goes and says, he's doing it on his own, and he's trying to think about his friends, and that's the worst thing that you can do. One of the first things that they tell you is, in all the rehab places and in all the groups, they tell you, cut with your old friends. That's why it's so hard to get off addictions, because when you're getting off, you're not only getting off of the substance itself, you're getting away, you're cutting links with all those people who did it with you. And yes, my friends, I don't care how young you are, because people are like, young people are like, no, that's not true, you can hang out with, unless you're not if you're not an addict and an alcoholic, okay, go ahead. You just want to stop drinking, and you don't have you don't have an alcoholic issue, you don't have alcoholism, you don't have problems with that, you can stop, then go ahead and hang out with them. But if you do have a problem, if you know it, you can't be hanging out with them. You gotta cut ties, because they're gonna want to drink, and their message, their voices are stronger than the people telling you to stop using, to stop drinking.
My friends, none of them are answering. Is this the moment where I can't control it? Got no appetite, I guess the party's over. I can't sleep at night and I keep rolling over, cause my skin is itchy and the paranoia got me.
Okay, so he's going to the withdrawal now. Yeah, his skin is itchy, so that must be a substance like heroin, I guess, Vicodin pills, because it depends on what you're withdrawing from. There's everything like alcohol, coffee, cigarettes, cocaine, and then all those Vicodin, they all have different type of withdrawals. Even weed, THC has different type of withdrawals, but THC is not as strong, and it's not physical, it's more mental, but all the other ones are physical. So he's talking about itching, he's going through it, but his friends are not answering. So I guess I don't get that. He's trying to get a hold of his friends, the one they used to drink with and party with. I mean, that's gonna be a relapse.
I guess the party's over. I can't sleep at night and I keep rolling over, cause my skin is itchy and the paranoia got me worried, sinking. It is so annoying. I've been throwing up, it looked like motor oil, but I chose to quit and now I can't avoid it. The right things to do are the hardest choices. Is this the moment when I...
Ooh, that is so true. The right thing are the hardest choices. And not only that, forget the choices, because we can make the choice. The right thing are always the most difficult to follow. The once you make those choices to keep, it's so difficult to build. It's so easy to destroy. Like, I know people who were sober for years, and I'm talking about 20, 30 years. And something happened at a moment and boom, they relapse. Of course, that begins to build from the back. Don't think that the person that relapsed that day. That's something that little by little by little, they, in the back of their head, with the situations that they get into, with the problems, they've been making that little, what do they call this thing? That little plot there to plant the seed of the relapse. And then they go ahead and relapse. But I mean, and just like that, and I seen it, and they lose it. It's like a nightmare, because they lose everything in a couple of months. Everything that they worked so hard to build.
Need a donor, liver failing from the liquor pouring, while the room is spinning. It ain't vodka soda. What is almost killing me is being sober. Talk about pitfalls.
Ooh, what is killing me is almost being sober. So it's not the vodka, and it's not the soda, or the soda that is making him, it's making him suffer, but it is the drinks. It's being sober. It's not having that drink. That's what's making him going crazy. So he's like at that moment where he could relapse, because he's missing it. He's going to the withdrawals. And the moment that you go into the withdrawal is not the beginning. Like, that's easier, because you think it's when it continues. It's at the top, at the peak of it. That's where, like, you're okay. And you're beginning to feel better too. Like, good enough that you can get up and walk. And go out and get the friends.
Failing from the liquor pouring, while the room is spinning. It ain't vodka soda. What is almost killing me is being sober. Talk about pitfalls. Surrounded by brick walls. This is what kids call withdrawals. Deleted every number from my phone. I'm staying home. Really wish that I was drunk with all my friends. I'm gonna beat it or I won't and overdose. Really wish that I was high with all my friends.
There's a bars right there. I'm gonna beat it or I don't. I'm gonna overdose. I mean, if he doesn't beat it, he's gonna die. That's basically it. And he's at that moment, that crucial moment, where you have to keep on going in your sobriety and not drinking and not using, because if you fail that moment, nothing's gonna you're going down that wormhole. You're going down. There's no stopping. and it doesn't get better.
Therapist, my arrogance embarrassing. It isn't fair.
Wait. My therapist, my arrogance, of course, the ego of the addict is quite high. The ego of the alcoholic.
I was high with all my friends. Therapist, my arrogance embarrassing. It isn't fair to tear with this. Addiction placed my parents in. I'm scared repair will never fix. The voluntary negligence, the wear and tear my errors did. They almost had to bury me. Is this
Okay, so he's talking about being like confronted by his parents, the things that he did wrong, the violence. But does he talk a little bit about his background? What happened when he was growing up?
therapist, my arrogance.
Okay, I like that. And I like the pause. Like he's basically talking. Like he's analyzing. This is heavy for him, and he's like want you to get the message across. So he's pausing.
Embarrassing. It isn't fair to tear with this.
So his arrogance is embarrassing in front of the therapist.
Therapist, my arrogance embarrassing. It isn't fair to tear with this.
It isn't fair to carry this. I can't understand what he said, but something isn't fair. It's unfair to make the therapist carry this, because I mean that's what they're there for.
It's embarrassing. It isn't fair to tear with this. Addiction.
It isn't fair to tear with this. It isn't fair to tear with this.
To place my parents in. I'm scared repair will never fix. The voluntary.
Okay, so his parents sent him to this place, and he's afraid that he's not gonna get the fix, because he's never gonna get fixed. He's never gonna get better. He's never gonna stop using.
Negligence, the wear and tear my errors did. They almost had to bury me. Is this the moment where I struck?
The negligence, the wear and tear, they almost had to bury him, so he almost died then. So he's talking about that. He has talked about it in his interviews. He did it in Watch Mojo, but he's talking about it now again. That moment that he went to what do you call this thing? Recovery, but it's not. It's oh my God! I got one of those houses where you go to where they keep you sober. So he went to one of those places because he almost overdosed, and his parents, I think, were the one that took him. I think his father told him something like, "You either you get this or you don't." But and he was afraid when he was going back. He was going to LA because I think he was in LA, and then he went to Toronto, or he went back to Canada. Got better, and then he came back to what do you call this thing, to LA.
My errors did. They almost had to bury me. Is this the moment where I screw up and relapse? Waste all my money on rehab. Can't take a pill from the doctor.
Rehab. Thank you, Tom MacDonald. Yes. So his parents sent him to rehab. Okay, so this is the moment. Maybe he's out. Maybe he's in a sober living. Maybe he's back in LA. But this is the moment that he's like, okay, all this money that they spend on me, all this time. It's not only the money, the love, the energy. Because if alcoholics and addicts tend to cut ties with people, there's a moment in everybody's life that they get tired of dealing with the drama. And people, as we get older, we want peace, we want tranquility. So so there's a moment where just the friends start just walking away, and then when you look around, you're alone and you got nobody out there to help you. So any help that you get, take it. I know it sounds easy, and I know it sounds bad too, because then people are like, oh yeah, you're taking advantage. But if somebody is, you're stopping me from being who I am, because that's the first thing. No, but they want me to stop drinking, they want me to stop partying because I want to have fun. I mean, come on, they're boring. I want to go out. It's not their life. I pay my own bills. I pay my own money. If someone is telling you, and also not only one person, pay attention. Pay attention. If more than one person is telling you, there might be something there.
My errors did. They almost had to bury me. Is this the moment where I screw up and relapse? Waste all my money on rehab. Can't take a pill from the doctor to relax. Lash out in anger whenever I react. Feel like a weak man. I don't want to be that. Living every day to get.
But you see the dichotomy and the contradiction. He wants to use. The doctor's giving him a pill to relax, and he won't take the pill. Why? That's the dichotomy. That's the issue. That's the problem with the addiction, with the addicts, with the alcoholic. Is that, hey, here's the cure, here's the help, but I don't want that one. I want this one. It's like taking away the bottle, the milk bottle from a baby.
Money on rehab, can't take a pill from the doctor to relax. Lash out in anger whenever I react. Feel like a weak man, I don't wanna be that. Living every day to get a buzz on the weekend. I'm in the
Ooh, I'm telling you, this guy, I hope that he, well, I don't have to, if he can handle a beer, that's okay, but I hope that he does speeches, because this guy will be so good to help people, to help the addicts and the alcoholics who are still in pain, who are suffering, because he can get the message across. And so, ooh, I don't want to be that person living for a high. I don't want to be the person thinking, okay, the weekend is going to come. It's Friday. It's time to... Esta noche se bebe. Aquí se bebe.
man, I don't wanna be that. Living every day to get a buzz on the weekend. I'm in the deep end, fighting with demons. Trying to stay clean, I just really need a reason. My bones are shaking in my hands and feet. I see my ribs.
Oh, tell me to be sober. I just need a reason. He needs a reason to be sober. But I think that he's questioning that to himself, because, you know, and there's so many reasons. Some people use their kids as the reason. It should be you. It should be the I. It should be that self-love, the desire to not have a bad ending caused by oneself. Okay, life is hard as it is. Why am I going to do things they're going to hurt me? They're going to end up my life. Life is going to take care of that. Let life do whatever life has to do, and I'll do my part. But some people, that's not enough, you know, and that's they have to look for something. That's what in those programs they usually talk about higher power, and that's why I respect people that find sobriety through religion. Whatever does it, whatever, and you know, Bill used to say the same thing. Whatever works. If it stops the alcoholic from drinking and stop the addict from using, then let it be. Let it be. Let it be.
Shaking in my hands and feet. I see my rib cage, but I can't eat. I still wake up panicking, so I can't sleep. I just sit in the bathtub and try to breathe. Talk about pitfalls, surrounded by brick walls. This is what kids call withdrawals.
Surrounded by brick walls, the brick walls are closing. That's suffocating. The desire to use and knowing that you cannot use, because once you start that, there will be no end.
Rib cage, but I can't eat. I still wake up panicking, so I can't sleep. I just sit in the bathtub.
He's going through all of it. Some people eat more though. It depends on the person, and it depends again on the drug. Because that's the problem. The alcoholic, addiction and alcoholism to me is the same thing. You know, I just think that alcoholism, they call it like that because that was the legal drug and people could see it was more obvious. But addiction, again, you know, people are addicted to medicine, to medication. So it's just because of the brand, because of the name of the substance. Anyhow, so I totally believe that this person should be able to, you know, come together and say, okay, this is what's going on with me right now. Let me stop and let me seek for help. But in that moment when you're using, when you have stopped using so recently that, you know, you're going through maybe your first or second, those are the worst. I mean, the first year, the first 3 years, actually the first 5 years. But those first years are the worst. They're the worst. Your mind is everywhere. You're trying. And he's like, you know, I want to use, but I know that this I cannot do, because if I do it, I'm going to die. But the desire, the symptom, the pull is so strong.
I'm in the deep end, fighting with demons. Trying to stay clean, I just really need a reason. My bones are shaking in my hands and feet. I see my rib cage, but I can't eat. I still wake up panicking, so I can't sleep. I just sit in the bathtub and try to breathe. Talk about pitfalls, surrounded by brick walls. This is what kids call withdrawals. Deleted every number from my phone. I'm staying home. Really wish that I was drunk with all my friends. I'm gonna beat all I want and overdose. Really wish that I was high with all my friends. I've never felt this.
Let's be being real. That's being real. That's one of the things that are bad about rehab places. Sometimes that some people they want to say like, I stopped drinking, I stopped using, and everything is fine. Everything, the birds and the trees, and it's not like that. It's life continues, and being the first years, that pain, that desire to go back to the old ways that you knew, he's going through it there. He's describing what he went through. Let's remember that this guy's been sober for a long time. It's 4 years or 5? He's been around already with the sobriety. But this thing, it just kills him. It pulls him out because he can remember. He's remembering what he went through. I don't think he's going through that right now because he should have, numbers. He has a reason not to drink, not to get addicted again to pills and drugs.
My friend, I've never felt this bad before. I don't know if I'll make it. Don't have the strength to get off the floor right now, but I'm hoping and praying. My whole life I wanted more. This might be the end, but now I've had too much fun. It's over now. I loved what I hated. Deleted every number from my phone.
Wow, those bars right there, those were bars. I love what I hated. Okay, and it's that again, that dichotomy. He's like, I gotta let go of this because my life depends on it, and if I don't let go, I'm gonna die. But at the same time, I want it so bad. He's being real. Again, he's not sugarcoating. He's like, I wish I was high, I wish I was drunk. And people in AA and NA, they don't like to hear that. They don't want to hear that somebody's saying, oh look, I want to drink, I want it. And then they can tell you, oh yes, we do want to hear it. But when the person, because in the first months, in the first year, that's all you're going to be talking about, how much you want to be back over there. That doesn't come, that change. For some people it might, but very few people can see roses and birds and be all happy in their first years.
But I'm hoping and praying. My whole life I wanted more.
Bars right there. My whole life I wanted more. That's a typical addict there. And he wanted more and more and more. And then it never ends. There's never an end. The cup is never full.
This might be the end, but now I've had too much fun. It's over now. I loved what I hated. Deleted every number from my phone. I'm staying home. Really wish that I was drunk with all my friends. I'm gonna beat it all I want and overdose. Really wish that I was high with all my friends. Deleted every number from my phone. I'm staying home. Really wish that I was drunk with all my friends. I'm gonna beat it all I want and overdose. Really wish that I was high with all my friends.
No, this is a bomb. This is the bomb, okay? This is what made me listen to this guy, and this is what made me stay following him and buying his music. You guys have to see also, he wrote one about cancer. I don't think he made a video ever about it, but wow, that song. So anyhow, this is extremely deep, extremely profound. I know people are not going to like it. They're going to be saying that it's corny. Only the people who can relate or who know someone that went through this will appreciate this song and the rawness of it, the reality, okay, of how he felt in saying it. And it's gold. It's gold. So anyhow, if you got to the end of this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, subscribe, help me grow my channel, and take care. Be safe. Bye.